Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of He's Not Wrong. I'm your host, Chad D. I have to just address the elephant in the room if you're watching this podcast and not just listening to it. The camera is dead, so I'm having to use my webcam. If you're listening on any of the podcast apps, don't even worry about it. Don't even try to figure out what we're talking about. It's not even worth your time. I just have to address the low quality that people might be seeing me in right now. So I apologize. But this is a special episode because this episode is essentially my birthday episode. My birthday is in about 5 days. I'm turning 31, and one thing that I'm struggling with is finding the balance between all of the social media work, the political nature of it, the toll that it takes on a person, and really finding the joy and the things that really get you going creatively. And there's no one better who could come on here and talk about that than Suzanne Lambert. I'm very grateful for her time. You probably know her from TikTok and Instagram and her comedy. She is so funny. She speaks truth to power, and she does it all, and she does it perfectly. And so I really wanted to pick her brain on a few of those things. But we talked about so much more. We talked about the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, the 90s, Kristi, Noem. I mean, the list goes on and on. It was such a fun episode, and I'm so grateful that Suzanne gave up her time with just how much she has going on to spend an hour with us on He's Not Wrong. She also has a comedy show coming up in DC on February 10th. Tickets are still available. It's at the DC Improv Comedy Club. It's Mean But True Live. Mean But True is her podcast that you can listen to on all the platforms. So be sure to go check her out. Give her some love if you're listening in the DC or Virginia or Maryland, that northeast little corridor. Go get some tickets. Go check her out. I promise you, it'll probably be the best decision that you make this year. She is hands down one of my favorite guests that we've had come on. I'm so excited to give you this episode. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and give you my conversation with the one and only Suzanne Lambert.
That I don't miss having a boss, but the problem with that is then I have to be the boss, and I'm like, wait a second. I didn't expect this.
How is that going for you being your own boss?
I mean, honestly, it's great. It's a very small operation over here, and I think in the near future, hopefully, I'll be able to expand and have more of a team. Right now, I only have, I have agents and stuff.
Sure.
I'm in between management. My sister does like fractional marketing services, and she's been an absolute godsend as far as like website design, logo, branding, merch, all of those things. But I mean, like most of it I do myself, and it's really challenging. And it's really easy to get lost in the day to day with my to-do list and then lose sight of some of those more strategic
Yeah.
long-term goals. But I'm not falling into that trap this year, and I'm trying to balance both of those things. And that's honestly meant just doing fewer things and
Sure.
saying no to more things, which I really hate to do. But I mean, members' offices hit me up literally every single day.
Yeah.
And despite the popular belief, we are not paid for that work, which I'm happy to do it unpaid. But at a certain point, I do have to just kind of prioritize other things. So that's where I'm at right now. But
Well,
it's great.
you are killing the game. You
I
would never know
appreciate
that
it.
the team is small. And I did just see your story on Instagram of your sister and the web design, and that's so valid about there being so many websites that are just like so messed up.
Bad. And I'm not even trying to be rude. I said the word genuinely in my Instagram story 3 times. I do love the word genuinely. But I was looking because my sister was like, okay, like try to pull together like a mood board, give me some inspo. So I'm looking up like, I'm not going to name names, but comedians I like, whose style I generally like even like Paris Hilton. I guess that's a name, but she's not going to see this, right? Or maybe she will. Um,
Well,
uh,
actually,
and they were bad.
to tease the episode or the clip that we're gonna play in a little bit, I mean, there's a chance that she might see it.
Oh, stop. What? I'm so curious. I'm so
So,
curious.
so, Suzanne Lambert, welcome to He's Not Wrong. I am so happy to have you on today. This is a treat for me. This is like a birthday episode, essentially. I know we were talking about this before I started recording, but you just have no idea how appreciative I am that you're giving up your time to spend it with us today.
Oh my gosh. I'm so thankful that you want to chat with me and to celebrate your birthday early with you. So wait, are you an Aquarius?
I am an Aquarius, and you know
Oh, so
what?
you're crazy.
I have no clue. I've talked about this on the podcast before. I don't know what it means to be an Aquarius. I know I am one, but I have no clue what the characteristics are. And then when I Google it, because I have tried to learn, but when I Googled it, I really don't understand what it's telling me. So I'm just like, okay, just live life.
The hot take is that Aquariuses are who people think Scorpios are. People think Scorpios, no offense, are like cold and detached and like will switch up. The thing about Aquariuses, and that's who Aquariuses are. Like Scorpios are not that way. Aquariuses will just like switch up. Like I dated an Aquarius man who like ruined my life. So I'm very biased, but like once they're kind of just like done with you or done with the situation or whatever it is. And it can be a really good thing, right? But Aquariuses have no problem being like, bye, I'm bouncing. See ya. And like, like they don't care about your feelings on the matter. So
You know, you say that and it like itches something in my brain. I'm like, I care a lot until I don't. And if you just give me one reason
yeah.
for me not to, it's really hard for me to get back to that place of,
Which can be a great thing. Like
yeah,
genuinely. I let things go on for way too long. But Aquariuses are very powerful, very compelling, very like alluring. There's obviously really good qualities as well.
you know what, that
But
makes sense. I was sitting on the
yeah.
couch. I was sitting on the couch watching Traders last week, and my boyfriend felt really bad. I won't give any spoilers, but he felt bad for who went home. And I'm like, I don't. I so easily sit there and vote someone out. And he goes, "Yeah, I'm aware." And I'm like, "What
And
does that
like,
mean?"
you're like, wait, what? Why are you, what is this perception of me? You know when people perceive you and you're like, wait, what do you mean by
Yep.
that?
So
Yeah,
you definitely just closed the loop with that. That makes a whole lot of sense.
that's so funny. That's hilarious.
So I have to say, so self-conscious right now. I got a haircut just for you yesterday.
Oh
And
my
I was like,
God.
Suzanne's coming on. I need to look my best. I need to get a haircut. And I can't help but just looking. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. I
It
can't
looks
handle
good.
this.
Wait, do you not like it?
Oh my God, no. This was
Oh
not
my
worth the $45 plus tip.
45, of course, and you still got a tip. Oh my God, I think it
Uh-huh.
looks good. I don't even know what you mean.
That okay. I feel like it looks a bit 90s right now. And one thing that looking at it, I'm like, that's definitely the inspo. But I saw last night you posted a video with a clip up from the Amanda show. And I know the Amanda show isn't exactly 90s, but you used a clip of the Amanda Please. And I'm like, oh, she's well informed of the
Oh,
early
of
90s or late
course.
90s, early 2000s content. Were you a Nickelodeon girly or a Disney girly?
Oh, that's a great question. If I had to choose one over the other, I would say Disney,
Mm.
simply because my parents were kind of strict with what we were allowed to watch. So there were like some Nickelodeon shows just wasn't allowed to watch. And Nickelodeon always it was always a little tackier and a little like rougher around the edges. I think that like NSYNC is to Disney what Backstreet Boys are to Nickelodeon. Like
Yes.
Backstreet Boys and Nickelodeon are the same, and NSYNC and Disney are the same. You know what and then like Cartoon Network would have been like O Town or something. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I know what you mean. And I'm so happy that you said that because I was going to ask, are you an NSYNC girly or a Backstreet Boys
Both.
girly? Both.
Both. Honestly, if I went song for song, I would honestly probably say, well, I don't know. I think I'm in sync for sure, but I did love Backstreet Boys and so funny. I posted a podcast clip yesterday where Sammy Sage and I from my podcast
Uh-huh.
were talking about how everyone likes to pretend like JC was their favorite in sync member. He was mine, but like all these bandwagoner JC's fans are coming out of nowhere. And I'm like, no, your favorites were Lance Bass or Justin Timberlake, and like JC has H Best, whatever. Lance Bass's husband, who I totally forgot follows me, commented on the clip and was like, Michael, and he was like, I think Lance Bass aged the best, and obviously I'm biased. And I was like, oh my God, well, one, I'm gagged. Two, you're right, if we're being honest.
Yep,
But I
yep. I
like
was
completely forgot that he followed me.
Lance Bass truly did age the best
And
out of
he's
all of
great.
them. Yep.
Yeah, like honestly, I said JCH the best. I'm not trying to age shame anyone, right? But then when I did look them up, I was like, oh no, okay, Lance did. And Joey looks good as hell too. I think they all look great,
I
honestly.
was I was a Backstreet Boys girl back in the day. And one thing I find really interesting is them trying to make a comeback. Have you been keeping up with any of the Brian Luttrell drama down on the Gulf Coast? Do you know what I'm talking about when I say that?
Okay, well, I knew that Brian Luttrell lived in Alpharetta, Georgia, not too far from me, and he lived next door to my best friend's grandma. But I don't know why I felt like I had to answer that, but no, I don't know drama at all. Wait, isn't his wife MAGA, or did I make that up?
No. Okay. Perfect setup. Perfect setup. You did not make that up. And he's pretty much MAGA too. And if I'm being
Ew.
honest, I have so many like politicians and candidates who come on here, so I can't like really be mean. But like his wife, she looks MAGA, if you know what I mean. She reeks
Okay,
of MAGA.
yes, I remember this shit, and he looks MAGA too. And
Yes.
okay, if we're going here, one of the reasons I mean, I'm granted, I still like their music, whatever, but there have been like really credible allegations against Nick Carter, including from Melissa Schumann of the pop group Dream. If you know the song "He Loves You Not," which you
Yes.
and This Is Me. And Melissa and I are friends and like we've chatted and stuff. And he like really like fucked up her career. So even though I don't like, am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah, of course.
Even though I don't like Justin Timberlake's bitch ass because of what he did to Britney, and he's a cheater and just a absolute loser. I don't know how we let this man get so famous. Like the beatboxing,
Hmm.
I don't know what kind of spell we were all under. I will always ride harder for NSYNC because of the Nick Carter of it all. But I loved Aaron Carter, which brings us to
Yeah.
a
Oh my
whole
God.
other dimension. Like I love Aaron Carter. I was genuinely devastated at his
God,
death. But can you go
same.
back to the Brian Luttrell? Sorry, I
Yeah,
cut you.
no, you're fine. Eric, do you know who the 18s are?
Of course, Inside
Okay,
Out.
so we're gonna have to talk about that in a
No,
oh
literally,
my,
yeah.
we're gonna have to circle back and offline on 18s because
A
they're making a
hundred
comeback.
percent.
New music from them, first time 26 years or 20 years tomorrow.
No.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Um,
Oh my
so
God. And Willa Ford is coming out with new music. Like the Hillary Duff, God, we deserve this. We deserve.
so listen, Brian Luttrell, he owns a home on 38 down in Florida. And that's
Okay.
where my boyfriend's from. And so that's the only reason why I know any of this drama because Brian is suing Fort Walton County, Florida, because the house that he owns sits on a public beach. And he's suing the county because people will obviously tan and set up a tent or umbrella and they're on the beach in front of his home. And he's saying this is a private beach and it's not a private beach because
But
Florida
it's not.
the, the if you look at the laws, it's not a private beach. He cannot make that claim. But the funny thing about it is him and his MAGA ass wife, their house is like the smallest one. And not to be a house shamer, but if
I'll
he's
be a
gonna go
house
there,
shamer.
if he's
Yeah.
if he's gonna go there and he's gonna make a big stink about it, that's not the house to do it. And it's of
Yeah.
course it's the MAGA person who looks MAGA, acts MAGA, believes in all of that stuff, and they're gonna cause the biggest stink and ruin it for everyone else down there.
Yeah, if the square footage doesn't stack up, you don't get to be a diva about that and try to
Mm-hmm.
exclude people from public lands. I mean, that's so Trump coded, right? They
Yep.
hate use for public lands. They would rather it just be for private use so people can make as much money as possible. That's insane. I hope they lose. I hope the neighbors aren't cool with that.
No one down there is cool with it. No one. I'm telling you, they're making such a big deal about it to the point where I'm like I can't even listen to Backstreet Boys anymore. Like this is completely ruined my perception of them, and that's
That's
a shame.
wild.
So all that to say, I'm now an NSYNC girly after all these years.
And we're here for NSYNC. Yeah, we're here for NSYNC.
You have really leaned into being called the Regina George of liberals. You've really adopted it into your brand. I need like the background story, the origin story of how that came to be and why you leaned into it.
Yeah, it's one of those things like when I think of jokes or when I think of ideas, it'll just kind of come to me randomly where I'm like,
Mm.
this phrase is good. Like the phrase Regina George liberal had kind of popped into my brain. And I was like, okay, I need to kind of build out what that concept would look like. But I feel like there's something there, right? And it was right after the election and of 2024, the
Yep.
presidential election, which is also my birthday, literally a week after the election. And I was
Mm.
in Kennebunkport because I'd always wanted to like go there for my birthday. So I was just in
Yep.
Kennebunkport, Maine. And I was like scrolling on TikTok and it was just like every video is like, oh, we're gonna get through this with love and kindness. And I was like fuck that. Like, no, we're not. I can't do 4 years of whatever this like bullshit is. Like, I'm mad and we already lost, right? So
Yep.
now I can say the shit that I've been wanting to say because I'll people will give me shit. They're like, why didn't you talk about politics more until after the election? I'm like, y'all would not have liked what I had to say. Y'all barely tolerate it now. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like you I still get shit for being too mean or whatever. And people would have accused me of derailing the election and this is we're gonna lose if we act like this. Like I know exactly how it would have gone. So I was just like pissed off looking at my feed and I was like, okay, this is the time to make that video. And honestly, like I knew sometimes you just know this is going to catch on. This is going to go viral. Like you just kind of feel it in your soul. I knew it would blow up. I didn't necessarily know that it would blow up to the extent that it
Sure.
did. I'm obviously very happy that it did.
No, I know what you're talking about. I made a video that blew up calling Laura Loomer a swamp monster.
Love that.
And it's like I knew in my soul, I'm like, someone needed to say it. It needed to come out. And I just kind of knew it was going to catch on. So that's valid. That's valid. But I'll have to say, you don't give Regina George vibes to me. You're so kind about my hair when it looks so bad in this entire conversation. But I do want to say, even though that is your brand and that's what caught on a while ago, there's something about the fact that even if you are the Regina George of liberals, I feel safest with you right now, more so than I
Oh,
ever would with the people who they vote against you. They say they love you. They don't have your best interest at heart. It's like, yeah, they might on the outside say the right things, but behind your back, they're really working against your favor.
yeah, totally. And it even goes for people on our side, right?
Yeah,
And that's who I was really making that video for because, and not to speak on behalf of like other marginalized communities that I'm not a part of, but like
sure.
I have always abided by the rule that if people who are actually oppressed, if they're in my comments really upset at something I've said, I've gone too far. That has not happened. There has never been a situation where there has been a huge outcry because of something I've done or said. And what I try to get um white women to realize is like being an ally is not like wearing polka dot dresses and painting our nails blue and whatever the fuck. Actually, what makes people feel safe is when you are very vocally opposed to the behaviors that are hurting them and oppressing
Yep.
them. And you guys have to put this stupid little, like, these lessons aside that we've been taught. And I think a lot of it is steeped in misogyny, for
Yeah,
women. It's
for
like,
sure.
be nice and be this and be that. And we want to do those things, right? We want to be inclusive and act in a way that is inclusive. And that also entails telling people who need it to go fuck themselves if that's what they
Yeah.
need to hear. So it was really meant to like kind of light a fire under white women's asses and be like, hey, you have permission to speak up. You have permission to bully these people, to embarrass them, to shame them, because guess what? That actually is a really effective method of fighting back against fascism and authoritarian
Yeah.
regimes. Make fun of them, make fun of them. And it seems to have caught on a lot, which is encouraging.
Have you had any white women tell you that you're the reason why they might have changed their mind or they like it stopped them in their tracks and made them think?
Every day. Yeah.
Nice.
Which is, and I actually have I read more DMs and comments than I should. That's what everyone tells me. They're like, hire someone to read your DMs. I'm like, I know I probably should heed that advice, but I have an album in my phone that I'll look at sometimes because, I get a lot of shit.
Yeah.
I get a lot of shit from people on our side. It can be really just like annoying and demoralizing some days. It's a part of the job, but some days it's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I'll read those messages and comments where I'm just feeling down or uncertain or whatever it is. And that's like what motivates me to keep going because knowing that even I've impacted one person to me would make all of it worth it because there's such a waterfall effect from that one person being changed, that one person's mind changing. And that's what I tell people all the time. I'm like, look, and I was going to say this for like, I'm not wrong, but I'll just say it now.
Yeah.
I do see a lot of people, you know, wanting influencers to speak up, people platforms to speak up. I totally agree. That's totally valid. And y'all being, you know, people who might not have a platform or who might not fall into that category, y'all have a responsibility to speak up as well. And actually, you can make just as much of a tangible difference in your everyday life by speaking
Yes.
up. Like, it doesn't even have to be online. You have a responsibility to do that as well. And I got a platform from talking about things. Like,
Yeah.
I had a normal job in finance, you know, like I have never worked in politics. I had zero Hill connections, have never been paid by the DNC, would love to take their money. They've never paid me, despite everyone saying I'm a DNC shill. They have not paid me. I do want Democrats to get elected, so if that makes me a DNC shill, sure. But everyone has a responsibility to use their voices.
There was I won't say names, but there was a social media influencer who made a post yesterday, and he was saying, you know what? I'm just going to call him out, Matt Rossi. He made a post about Matt Rossi made a post about, look, I've had a lot of comments and a lot of people reach out asking for my opinion. And the reason why I haven't spoken out about what's happened in Minnesota is because like I'm trying to leave space for the people who talk about this to have their room on social media, to have their voices heard. And I was like, that is such
That's
a
such a lame cop out.
that's a lame cop out. I'm like, you have a unique space, and these people probably don't listen to the voices who you think you're making space for. So you have a unique opportunity to reach a whole new audience that is not involved, is not listening to what's going on. And you can be the reason why the needle moves with that specific group. Like you have an obligation to speak out. That's how I feel
And
about it.
that's bullshit because like when would you ever take that stance? If it was something that was making money, you would never be like, "Oh, well, I want other people to make money from that. I don't want to do that myself." Hell no. You would jump on it and be like, "Let me get on that." You know, whatever that might
Yep.
be. Let me get on that trend or like that product, like brand, whatever it is. That's such a lame cop out. Just be honest. Just be like, I don't really know what to say and I don't want to lose followers and money because that's what you're telling us without actually telling us that. I mean, I don't know this guy, so I need to look up his deal. But yeah, that's really lame. Just don't say anything at that point, honestly.
I will say there was another social media couple yesterday. They're a workout influencer couple, and the husband sat down in front of the camera and was like, "Look, I don't make political content, and
He's
this
so
isn't."
hot.
Yes, he is,
I'm
and
in love with him. I followed them. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like
After I
that.
saw that video.
I'm like that. Literally, is what we need more of. That like perfect example. It's that easy. It's that easy. You're a workout influencer, and you're just gonna sit down in your space and let people know where you stand. So easy. I'm curious how many people now, because of that video, feel comfortable in their space being able to say the same thing on how they feel.
Yeah, and I was a member of an organization called Chorus, which made, you know, quite the ruckus on social media last year
Yep.
because people learned 501(c)(4s exist. Newsflash, everyone. Cool that we're a part of that learning journey together. But it's funny to me, and I posted about this on Threads last night, and BTC reposted it. He's one of the, you know, the founders of Chorus, Brian
Yep.
Tyler Coe, a good friend of mine, the nicest dude on the planet. Like
Didn't
people
you
have
reveal that he's like jacked?
yeah, he's jacked. I always encourage him to post like shirtless content. He's
Yep.
like,
Okay.
no, and stop. But I'm like, please just do it. No, he's a hottie, obviously, and like literally the nicest person on the planet. And like does so much to boost other people. He was like on the phone with me one time at 11 p.m. because someone had like stolen my videos on YouTube, and he's like, no, we're getting to the bottom of this. Like he like really gives a shit. But organizations like Chorus exists to help support creators, including creators who are mostly culture first, talk about politics. And it's interesting to me because given all the backlash that Chorus got,
Yep.
um, to now see people who are super happy, rightfully so, about more content creators speaking up and influencers, etc. And I'm not in the new cohort, so I can't say this for certain. One, I guarantee you, though, I'm very confident in saying a lot of those creators are in Chorus and they learned how to talk about that from Chorus because the Chorus like literally exists to help equip people talk about politics who haven't done it before or are afraid of the backlash or just are worried about the financial implications of doing so, because brands will ghost you. It is a real thing that has happened to me. It's happened to my friends. Like it's very much a real thing. There are some brands who would just never even touch me with a 10-foot pole, because of the work that I do, which I'm
Sure.
happy to take that risk. But I did find that interesting, seeing how many people were so happy about creators speaking up. I'm like, okay, well, if you want that, like if you want more of that, we do have to support building an infrastructure that encourages and allows people to talk about politics in a way that makes sense, in a way that's true to them. So that's just my little side rant there, because I'm like, okay, yeah, we all want more of this. So support the organizations that are
Yep.
working to make that happen.
For sure. And speaking of people who use their platform and use their voice to speak about politics in a comedic manner, love him or hate him, Bill Maher recently made the case that political correctness is limiting to comics. So I'm curious, from your standpoint, where you speak truth to power, but you also are a comedian. Where do you fall in the political correctness conversation with your
Firstly, Bill
work?
Maher can go cry into his
Oh,
millions.
thank
Like, give
God.
me a fucking break. Oh, please. I'm not a Bill Maher apologist. Like, I'm not saying he hasn't done great things throughout his career. I'm not even saying he's a lousy comedian. To be super honest, this isn't even shade. I'm not like super familiar with his old stuff.
Sure.
Um, we're on the same podcast network. Maybe I'll have him on one day. Probably not. But so here's the thing. So I have always looked at my content. I have always treated it like I am a performer. And that there's a big difference there, because one, I don't put out shitty content.
Yep.
I am very anti just post the content. I'm like, no, put some work into it. Put some thought into it. Get a goddamn ring light. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you should put some intentionality and hard work and thought into the content that you're putting out if you want it to be good. Like, I would never go up to a show. I would never go to a comedy show completely unprepared with no idea what I want to say, looking a total mess. Like, I would never do that. You owe the audience something. I have always looked at it as I owe my audience something, whether that's online or in person. I promise I'm going to answer your question.
You're
So
good.
for me, it's so interesting because jokes that people wouldn't even bat an eye at in a comedy club, wouldn't even bat an eye, people will freak out about them online. And I do not make edgelord jokes whatsoever. I don't make transphobic jokes. I don't do stupid pronoun jokes. I don't do racist jokes. Like, I am not an edgelord comic, literally whatsoever. So I have always found that really interesting because, one, I refuse to pander to people online. And I have been really upfront about that from the onset. And I will even I give the advice, if you're someone who creates content online, especially if you ever, attract a left-leaning political audience, you need to post something once a month that would only annoy the most annoying people on the internet, because you do not need those people in your audience. Those are the people who will try to mass cancel you for something innocuous
Hmm.
later. They're not going to go to your shows. They're going to purposefully misunderstand you. And like, I just think it's so funny because I'm like, so if you went to a live comedy show, which I'm imagining none of these motherfuckers do, because it doesn't seem like they get a lot of outside time in general, would you guys like interrupt a comic and be like, hey, I didn't like that. When you said having linty clothes is MAGA coded, that was actually really classist and ableist of you. I'm like, give me a fucking break. So earlier when I said I've never gotten backlash, that's not entirely true. I have gotten backlash that I found to be profoundly idiotic and stupid. And then I've doubled down and been like, yeah, no, I'm not apologizing. I'm not sorry. You guys are purposely misunderstanding me. And if I'm not for you, walk away. It's all good. But this is not, I'm not accepting feedback on my jokes at this time.
Mm,
Now, granted, like I said, if it were a lot of people in my comments who had really actually felt like I had done something wrong, and the
sure.
people in my life who I trust to kind of talk about this kind of things with, because I do that frequently. I'll be like, hey, is this like problematic? Like, I don't want to accidentally offend, whatever. If they had actually said I had misstepped, then I would go a different direction. But I refuse to pander to people with zero sense of humor. And I think we need more people who are going to stand in that and be like, no, suck it up. You guys are being idiots and annoying and insufferable. And this is why no one wants to come to the left. Like, knock it off. I don't care. We just need more people who are less concerned with losing their audience, because I also feel like it's reverse psychology. And when I
Sure.
tell them, I'm like, genuinely, like, if I'm not for you, leave. Like, I don't care, but I'm not changing. They don't leave. Like, they really don't. So it's rare that I get a mass exodus of followers, you know?
The left needs more people willing to speak out and to do what it is that you're doing. This question was submitted from a friend of mine. It was something that he wanted to know because he is a liberal, but he thinks there's too many dumbasses on the liberal side who have a voice. He's like, I don't want that person representing me if they're not well versed in history and policy and what's going on. So I'm curious your standpoint on people who have a platform, but they're not well versed in what's actually going on. How can we get them to a place where they're actually speaking truth to power and they're being effective in their messaging?
One, and again, this is not a Chorus advertisement. Organizations like Chorus, organizations that help you understand how to talk about things intelligently, but also, like, and I don't know who he's referring to specifically, but I don't think everyone needs to talk about everything, and you don't have to learn everything about
Mm,
everything. Like, a bunch of people, I don't know why. And I look at it as people respect and value my perspective, which I really appreciate. But people will ask me, like, why haven't you talked about Venezuela? I'm like, y'all, I'm gonna be so honest. I didn't even know that we were beefing with them. Like, I didn't even really know that things weren't great until we like invaded them or whatever. So whenever
yes.
people ask me about that, I was like, my friend Nathan Jun has made great videos on that. Go kick it over to him. So I think part of the problem lies in, once people do talk about politics on the left, I think part of the problem is people expect them to talk about
Yes.
everything. And also, if they do talk about politics, people then on the internet take that as an invitation to like surveil and make sure that every action they do is in alignment with a perfect political person. For example,
Mm,
someone got on me. I do a ton of foster work for a rescue, a dog rescue, and animal rescue. I love animals. You know, I have two rescues. I donate a ton of money to different rescues. Like, I very all in. I reposted a video of a doodle, like a doodle doing something silly. Someone messaged me like 3 paragraphs, really mad at me for reposting a doodle because it's a designer dog. And if I'm gonna say I'm an advocate for animals, and I was like, literally, I was like, you need to get a job. This is insane. But like, a lot of people don't have that kind of confidence, like influencers and content
yep.
creators, like, they're so afraid of, you know, upsetting people, and they're constantly looking over their shoulder. And that's just not a way to build an audience or a following. I would rather just not have one than have one where I felt like I couldn't be authentic to who I
For
am, and
sure.
people who take themselves so seriously. I don't even know if that answered your question, but
No, it does.
yeah.
And I'm really happy with what you said because I make a lot of videos that are more, and this is more TikTok. On Instagram, I'm a bit more rough around the edges, I would say. But on TikTok, I'm a bit more educational and I try to inform people in the South about what's going on.
Yeah.
But I don't know everything that's going on. And people will comment and tell me to talk about something. I'm like, no, you know where I stand. I'll always support you, but I'm not gonna speak about everything. I know what I know. God, I
I'm
know
not an
exactly what you
on-demand
mean.
channel. Yeah, like, this isn't
Exactly.
pay-per-view. You don't get to like select what topic I'm going to talk about. So I think that's a mix of, like, some people don't need a microphone. They don't. Some people are trying their best to learn, but it can be challenging in this environment,
Yeah.
like, really. And people need to temper their expectations, I think, with, and who, like, you can pick your information sources, you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
there's plenty of things I take with a grain of salt depending on who they come from.
Well, this is a really good segue to the next block that I have planned for us. And it's time for you to take out your phone because
Okay.
I did send you a clip from a mutual friend of ours. Because what you're so good at is finding balance in this chaos. The world is so chaotic. You speak truth to power, but yet you follow your heart with your passions. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about next. But I want to use this video as the lead in for that. So you can just
Okay.
go ahead and
Why am I scared? Okay, why am I terrified?
Surprise, girl. I just got done with a little push day, so the chest is chesting. But when Chad asked me to make a video for
So
your
good.
podcast recording that you're doing with him today, kind of like good hang, Amy Poehler-esque, I said absolutely because I got a lot of things that I can say about my friend Suzanne. The first thing I think is a skill that you particularly possess that I think people in democratic politics and broadly need to acquire a lot more, and that's your skill and your tenacity and your willingness to completely fucking read a bitch. I'll never forget when you covered the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing where we brought Pam Bondi in for her oversight hearing in October, and you coined her as Pam, never have I ever had a bonding treatment Bondi. Clocked it, very true. And then you proceeded to get Senator Hirono to say that what's going on with the Trump administration is fucking bullshit.
I did.
And I think there's a million and one other examples of you just having a tasteful way with words that leaves KKK Caroline and MAGA's favorite drag queen, Kristi Noem, just out to dry. And it's beautiful, great work. I think while we all know that you have a powerful way with words, one thing that people don't appreciate you about enough is your work ethic and also your ability to be a diehard friend. And I want to talk about that a little bit too. I'll never forget when we were at an event appreciating the Black arts here in DC, and I ran into you, and we were just Instagram mutuals. We'd never really corresponded before in real life.
I thought he was hot.
And we just immediately started hitting up a
He is.
conversation. You were so welcoming, you were so kind. And my friend Chase was with me actually, and we're all yapping. And you go, "Do you guys want a picture?" And we're like, yeah, sure. So we like just start tanning, and you immediately give us like 100 different poses. But the one iconic picture that came out of it was one that the shadow of your hand is like in the corner like this.
Want to be in the
us both
photo?
just, like doing our thing in the middle. So we call it our Suzanne picture. So
I'm
you're
crying.
a core part of our friendship actually.
Okay.
Last year was a big year, especially in democratic politics, to lean into content creation and engaging with content creators more. And I think I really want to express just how appreciative I am to you and how much you've inspired me and empowered me to not be afraid to get in front of the camera a little bit more, as
Okay,
well
I'll try.
as put my bosses in front of the camera a little bit more in a way that I've developed a good relationship of trust with you, and you've really taught me how to lean into this new media atmosphere a lot. And you didn't have to do that, but out of the goodness of your heart and your belief in a greater society for everyone, you're willing to help us learn, and it takes time. And I'm really grateful to the grace that
I
you've
feel
given
all this about
and the part
him.
that you play in our movement to make sure that everybody has a democratic aligned voice that they can identify with, and you play an important role in that. And I didn't realize that until we got to Crooked Con together last year. It was so much fun. We met all of our mutuals, and we had a great night out that night.
We did.
You're great. I'm so appreciative of the friendship that we've grown. I'm so excited for what you have planned up your sleeve because we know that you're 10 steps ahead and you're already scheming. And one thing I think I'm really looking forward to is seeing more hot men in the wild and looking at each other and saying, he's got to be into one of us, right? And that's the power of the gay and the hag. Have a good pod, Chad. Have a great conversation with her, and I can't wait to listen.
Oh my God. Oh, that's so cute. Oh, I want to cry. Josh is the best. He's just the nicest, smartest, so on top of it, so organized, so fun, just the best. Oh, that made my day.
I look up to him so much, and I look up to you so much. And I think one thing that he really hit on perfectly is the fact that you're so supportive of everyone in your life. You're dedicated to your work. You support so many different causes, and you're following your passion with comedy. And like I said before you played the video, it seems like you have struck this perfect balance of finding that balance amidst so much chaos in so many different areas of your life. And I'm 30, I'm about to turn 31. And
Woo!
I'm struggling to find that balance. Like, for instance, like this podcast is so political and I never planned for it to stay political, but it's like I'm struggling to find that balance. And it's something that I feel like you have struck perfectly with your podcast. You make political content, you have food creators come on, you've talked to Jonathan Van Ness, you're again speaking truth to power. How do you do it? What's the secret? How do I find that balance amidst this chaos? Because it's something I wanted to get right in the 31st year of my life.
Which I love. I love a new year and a time to set intentions and goals. Like I love it. And Lunar New Year is coming up too. So we also have that. But as far as like striking a balance between political and like non-political stuff, which I think is what you're referring to,
Yeah.
I have to be so incredibly intentional about what I say yes to. And like, I think what you say no to is just as important as what you say yes to. But like, I have people, and I can give you an example. I
Sure.
have people reach out to me all the time, like members of Congress, people running for things who want to be on my podcast, who would get a lot of views, right? And it would be good to build my platform. It would be good for me, whatever. But I have always like been very centered in the fact that I am entertainment first. I'm not informative first, right? Informing might be a secondary or even tertiary goal of the things I put out, but I am an entertainer. So that means I say no to a lot of people who have asked to be on my podcast. Not to say I'll never have, someone in politics. They had Gavin Newsom, but like
Yep.
they have to be funny. They have to be willing to play ball. And Josh and I even had that conversation for that hearing that he referred to. I had an idea to speak with some members and they were on the fence about it. And I'm like, and it's not his fault, right? But I'm like,
Sure.
look, if they want to meet with me, they have to play ball. Otherwise, they can just talk to another, just kind of not to diminish anyone's talent or work in this space, but talk to a standard news reporting content creator. But that's not me. So I have taken a really strong stance with members' offices. I was actually in a member's office once, and their staffer was just kind of freaking out. It's usually the staffers who are actually like very, and I get why, right? If
Yeah.
something goes wrong with their boss, they lose their job. Not knocking the staffers at all. They do great work. But I was like, okay, well, it doesn't sound like, you're cool any longer with what I had planned on speaking about. So like I can just leave, like it's no big deal. And then they're like, no, wait, stay. So you have to be true to yourself and you have to do the shit that you want to do. Like people get so caught up in like, well, I want to post more like lifestyle content alongside my political content, but I don't know how to tie it in. And I don't know if people like it. I don't whatever. Shut up. Shut up. Do the things that you want to do. Post the things that you want to post. Like talk about the things you want to talk about and your people will find you. Like they will. You can't operate from a scarcity mindset of if I try something new, people will hate it. Some people might hate it. Some people are going to love it though. So like genuinely do the things you want to do. If you can't do it from a place of like, bravery or whatever, do it from a place of selfishness. Talk about the things that you want to talk about because it'll just be more enjoyable for everyone. So that's how I look at it. I'm just like that my North Star is that I'm an entertainer and that is what I keep at the forefront. And when I start to feel like I'm getting a little too political or like, I'm not being funny anymore, that's where I kind of reroute myself because I never want to just be like angry and bitter either. That's like, that's not what I get on the internet to do. And some people do that really well and they just kind of get people riled up. And again, that's great. And that serves a great purpose, but that's not my purpose. And you have to be able to put forth what feels authentic to you. And that has to be more important than getting followers and getting money and whatever else. It does.
Okay, Suzanne, one thing that I admire a lot about you, amongst so many things that we just discussed, is the fact that you're just so confident. And one thing that I have realized in recent years is, number one, as we talked about with Brian Luttrell's wife, I can really spot someone who's MAGA just based on their makeup, and especially with some of their plastic surgery choices with Mar-a-Lago face. I had a guest on my show. She's an author. Her name is Sarah Mosliner, and she talks about, she's a professor, and she talks about purity culture as children and how that's a breeding ground for MAGA and for the things that they're getting away with right now, how it starts with that Christian evangelical purity culture. We got to talking and she was talking about oligarchs and authoritarianism and how it's so shocking what women are willing to sacrifice in order to fit in. And saying like the Mar-a-Lago face stems from this desire to fit in with men with money. And so they're willing to sacrifice so much to try to look like they have money. And that's how Mar-a-Lago face came to be. And so then I started thinking, I was like, I feel like they lack confidence. So I just want to know where you stand with that. Would you say that's true? And then being in DC, is it more prevalent? Is it not as prevalent as it seems on social media? What's the situation with those Republican women and their makeup and their confidence?
Yeah, I think they absolutely lack confidence. And what they also lack is, I think, a sense of self, because that really Puritan culture, MAGA culture, not necessarily Republican culture, but like what we know to be MAGA culture now, women are only valued for how they are in proximity
Mm,
to men. Everything, they're all very male centered, right? These women are male centered. And I don't want to give all of this away because it's part of my I'm not wrong about.
sure.
But um so they're what they do as far as their makeup, their fashion. I was in a HuffPost article recently about MAGA fashion. Like they literally just do what everyone else around them is doing with zero thought to like curating their own individual style. And I don't even think that everyone necessarily needs to be a fashionista or have the best makeup, whatever, but they don't even give it a try. And that also stems from not having a diverse friend group in your life, right? Like
Yes.
the reason I'm good at makeup is because I watched drag queens who taught me, Trixie Mattel taught me how to snatch contour by using a lighter shade underneath. I have hooded eyes. So there are AAPI creators who have talked about doing eye makeup for hooded eyes. Like so much of what I have learned in the beauty space is from listening to people with perspectives different than mine. Of course, I mean,
Yes.
think about like Korean skincare, right? Like there are cultures and groups of people who just know different things than you do. It's not even like some deep like emotional thing, but they don't even look outside of their little bubble to see what that might actually be. And that's how you end up with busted makeup that looks like it's peeling off. And like horrendous filler. And I say that as someone who has a lot of filler, but they get it almost so that people know they have it. It's
Yes.
like they want people to know they have the money to put out to get these like just awful, the jigsaw face, but they never put any money into like the skincare of it all, which again goes to show it's just all about like protruding like a very gaudy appearance, it seems.
I'm gonna have to touch base with Sarah on this because I feel like we're gonna have to write a dissertation and take it a step further. It's beyond trying to be accepted. It's like they're literally operating within a bubble and they're whitewashing their makeup. And this is what you get. It's like this look and it like physical symbol of what life looks like when you take out diversity. It's
Yeah,
that.
and they always get it wrong because they're always trying to find a semblance of belonging, something that feels like belonging within their communities, right?
Yeah.
Look at the red MAGA hats are a great example of that. Mar-a-Lago face. What they don't understand is there is a fundamental difference between belonging and assimilation. Those aren't the same things, right?
Yes.
So if you don't have, again, those diverse inputs into your community, what you get is assimilation. It is impossible to cultivate a sense of belonging if there is no dissenting voices and views and perspectives, or even not even dissenting, varied, right? When you just have a homogenous group of milk toast people, that's what you're going to get, right? And that's why when they tried to do a response to the Republican makeup trend and do the liberal makeup trend, they would either do their makeup and look better, which those were my favorite videos, or they would all just do like clown makeup or like haha blue hair. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't have blue hair. And like you want to look like me, be so fucking for real. You know what I mean? Like they're not even creative. They just recycle all the same shit over and over.
I mean, I'm a gay male and I'd want to look like you. So you are
Oh,
not
please.
wrong
I want to
about
look like
that.
you. Your skin is perfect. And I have a retouch filter on. Let's be so for real about that. But you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
y'all don't even know how to make fun of us because you don't even open your eyes long enough to look at the world around you. That's why y'all aren't funny either.
Yes, and I'm happy you bring up that sense of the assimilation versus belonging and that idea of that feeling of belonging because one thing I wanted to ask about to get your opinion on, but now I'm actually like really excited to bring up this topic is This idea that Donald Trump is not cool and his entire identity is him wanting to be cool. And this kind of takes it back to the Regina George of it all, right? Think back to high school and you have the cool kids and you have the cool kid table. And then you have the table where all this is stereotypical, but then you have the table that kind of the outcasts sit at. And Donald Trump was always at that outcast table and he was always wanting to belong at the cool kids table and he never did. And so what do we see now? We see him trying to make an effort to be cool. For instance, you have the Nobel Prize. He's not cool. He's not going to get the Nobel Prize. And so he is so angry that these people shunned him, that they don't think he's cool enough for the Nobel Prize. You have the entire Melania movie. Hollywood shunned him. He always talks about it. He has not received a single award and he's bitter about it. So what's he going to do? He's going to make his own red carpet event, this whole Hollywood thing. And now you're seeing in the news that the movie's going to flop. It's like being projected to make like $1 million or something after they poured 40 million into it. Anywho, I had talked to my boyfriend. We're not going to spend money on a ticket, but we will wait for it to go on to streaming because we need to know what it's about, but we're not going to be a part of those box office totals.
Yeah. And I think what you said, well, one, I know I've thought about that. I'm like, should I go see it? Like that would be good for my job to give my comedic perspective on it. As long as I like tripled my donation, I could just make a 3x donation to Planned Parenthood or something to offset damage, you know. But yeah, I know I've waffled with that. Maybe what I'll do is buy a ticket to a different movie and then sneak into that one.
He's literally said that last night. No, what I'm horrified about, because when he said that last night at dinner, we were talking about, okay, how are we going to like see it? He's like, we can just buy a different ticket. And I was like, no, they have like cameras in those theaters. And if none of these like theaters are selling out tickets, they're not even selling a single ticket and they see two people in there, like, we're going to get busted.
You think they're going to say shit? I live in such a blue town. I'll be like, hey, here's $20 each if you don't kick me out of this movie.
Honey, this is Alabama. They're looking for any
they're
reason.
looking for you over there. I'm good in Arlington, Virginia. And then what? Arrest me? That would be great for my brand. Bring it on. But I've never been arrested. But you know, it's never too late. But going back to what you said, so I had the honor of attending the State of the Union address, which was called the Joint Address last year, like, you know, a month into Trump's presidency. I was the guest of Lauren Underwood, a congresswoman in Illinois who's amazing. She has done so much to further healthcare in this country that people don't even realize. And she just had like a major piece of legislation passed. Lovely person. Anyway, I was at the joint address, and what stands out to me the most from all of that, beyond Nancy Mace like desperately trying to get Elon Musk's attention and her like fake boobs flapping everywhere. It was like it was such a scene. It was such a scene. So humiliating. She was like, hi. Oh my God, it was so bad. I've never like, it was secondhand embarrassment. Anyway, what stuck out to me the most was within the first 10-12 minutes, he stops his speech that lasted over 3 hours, by the way. It was the longest one ever on record. And Mike Johnson's chief of staff still got a DUI after. So that's how you know they were absolutely loaded going into that event. Donald Trump stops and he was like, and there's nothing I could do up here to get Democrats to clap for me. And that, I think, sums all of it up completely because he wants the approval of the people on our side so bad. He wants to be loved. He wants to be adored. He wants to be exalted. I have always said, like, he's not actually against abortion. He doesn't give a fuck about abortion. He actually, in his soul, probably aligns politically way more on a lot of issues on the left. But, you know, he's not remarkable. He's not talented. He's not smart enough to make it on our side. And that also wouldn't allow him to siphon wealth and, you know, triple his net worth like he's done during this presidency. So instead, he just is like it's like the third string JV wide receiver who just rides the bench, never gets to get in the game because there's always someone faster. There's always someone better, or the coach doesn't like his attitude, or he doesn't get along with the other players, right? Like he's always just been on the outskirts. If you've seen the movie or the show Penguin on Max, if you haven't, you should. It's very violent, which I don't normally like, but it's like, it follows Batman's nemesis, essentially. Donald Trump is the Penguin. Like, and I mean, the parallels are there. I'm sure they're purposeful, but it's all about how this dude, no matter what he did, he was never quite accepted. He was always kind of an outsider, the Penguin was. He finds this young kid, teaches him kind of everything he knows. They grow up together, and spoiler alert, I mean, it's been out for years. So if you haven't seen it, that's on you. I don't feel bad for you. Like, get over it. Like, you guys don't get to say spoilers when it's been out for years. People will still do that. I'm like, hun, they're like Pride and Prejudice, spoiler alert. I'm like, y'all, like, get it together. Like,
You
pick
get a
up the book
week
or
with
don't.
me. You get a week
Yeah,
and
a
then
week, and then get over it. Like, that's not my responsibility. But spoiler alert, at the end, he sacrifices that young man. Sounds a lot like, recent events on the right, and I'll just leave it at that. There's a lot of parallels to the Penguin that people should look at. It's kind of insane.
I'm gonna have to watch that. I forgot that that's out. I do not care that it's been spoiled. I will dedicate my time this weekend to watching that because now I'm
It's
curious.
fantastic, but it all speaks to that. He's just on the outskirts, never fully accepted.
I when I was making my list of things that Trump is trying to do to be cool, even though he's not, I cannot believe I missed the fact that he's faking being a Republican. Like,
Yeah, he doesn't like, and again, I
like
say
he,
this tongue in cheek. If we
but
all
I
on the
believe it.
if we on the left were like, hey man, you're kind of cool, and like, we actually don't hate you that much, whatever, and like, maybe you have some worthwhile ideas. I genuinely think his reign of terror would stop. Like, because that it's never gonna stop until the big beautiful day, or until he finally gets the approval of the people he is so desperately vying for approval from.
Listen, one of my favorite things about social media, and I know we're tight on time, but one of my favorite things about social media is the comments or the videos like, is it the day? And it's, you just know what they're talking about. That is one of the funniest things to me. Just out of context, is it the day? And it's like, you know what they're talking about. Is it the day? Like, we haven't even said it. And
Imagine being that hated. Imagine being that entirely universally loathed, that people are like, can you imagine the content of that day? I'm throwing a rager. I'm throwing a massive event. I'm getting blackout drunk. We're spraying tequila from the tabletops. We're dancing on tables. It's going to be a scene. Whenever he got COVID, and I still remember the day, I say that now. I think it was October 7th. 2020 or 2021. You would need to fact check me on that.
okay.
I remember when he got COVID, driving to Trader Joe's, all the windows rolled down, in the best mood. Everyone's smiling and waving. Like, Northern Virginia is like not the most friendly, hospitable place in the South. Like, everyone was in such a happy mood. And then, of course, he was fine.
It was October 2nd.
Okay.
And it was on a Friday.
Yeah.
And I do remember I remember everyone was getting COVID. It wasn't it was a big deal, but it was at the point where it was like, oh, you're going to get it at some point. So it wasn't as heightened, but the day that the news dropped that Trump got COVID, it was like the world stopped spinning.
Yeah.
It was like,
see, and I was within
what does this
5
mean?
days of the date. Like, that's how noteworthy. There's a lot of my friends, I still don't know their birthdays. I remember roughly when Trump got COVID because of how special it was to me at that point in my life.
That is so good. So, oh my God, we got on this topic all from that point I wanted to make about the Melania movie, but this leads into, I need to know if I'm a feminist or not. Partly because I'm criticizing Melania. I already called Laura Loomer a swamp monster. You know how I feel about Kristi Noem. I agree with everything you said about Nancy Mace. I want women to succeed. I want y'all to have everything that you need. I like your body, your choice. I'm here for it. But I really fell in love with this phrase when describing Kristi Noem that I saw on social media. Someone called her a twatsie. So first question, please, will you make a video today calling her a twatsie? You don't even have to give context. Just like slip it in there. I need that to become a part of the general lexicon of America. I need people to start calling Kristi Noem twatsie.
We need twatsie out into the vernacular. I actually haven't heard that one. That's very creative. I like that. I like when people are creative with their insults. Nothing worse than just picking the most obvious thing. I like twatsie. That has some ingenuity there. But to answer your question, you didn't necessarily ask, but I'm going to tell you.
You know
You
what
can
it is.
absolutely be a feminist and make fun of these people. And in fact, I think it is very feminist behavior to, trash the people who are working against everything that feminism stands for while benefiting from it. That's what drives me insane. Look, I hate how you dumb bitches vote. I still want you to have the right to vote. I hate the shit you come on the internet to say or on your stupid ass press conferences to say. I believe in your right to say those things. I believe in you that you should be able to get, pregnancy leave and all of these different things. They've benefited from the systems of oppression or benefited from the systems of feminism while contributing to systems of oppression. And also, I did not sign some contract at my birth that because of my gender, I have to be nice to all these bitches. Men don't have to do that. No one tells men, oh, you guys, like, men needs to be supporting men. Like, men need to be looking out for each other. No one says that. To quote a great Twitter scholar, I do not support all women. Some of you bitches are very dumb. So, like, absolutely, you can be a feminist and call someone ugly. And you know what? If that means I'm not a feminist anymore, okay. Like, whatever. I like the labels and the naming, like, it is so unconcerning to me. Who cares? Like, I do a net good to the world. You do a net good to the world. You can call some of these hags ugly because they are.
I
And
needed
twats.
Twatsy. I needed the permission. I wanted to check. Great point. That I got so much hate, and I don't feel bad for it, as it shows how many conservatives in Alabama still follow me on social media as if they have any reason to. But back when
But
Charlie
that's a
Kirk,
good thing. I have a lot
right?
of conservatives who follow me too. Like, they're there for a reason.
They're there for a reason. It was a friendship ending comment that I made. And because I said, even though Charlie Kirk was a horrible person and he probably wanted me dead based on everything he said, I will always fight to make sure that what happened to him doesn't happen to anyone else, so we can continue to have the platform to spew the hate that he spews. And I think that just sums it up perfectly. It kind of shows where we fall ethically, morally.
Ideologically, yeah. And I totally agree. I don't want people getting shot in the head because of political beliefs or whatever else. Need to check on what's going on there, by the way. I haven't really heard anything about the person who killed him that Trump definitely didn't have any part in. Listen, watch the Penguin. Watch the Penguin.
It
I'm
always
being
goes back to the
so
Penguin.
serious. Watch the fucking Penguin and you're gonna be like, oh my God. But all that to say, people getting shot in the head is bad for our country. I didn't make funny jokes about him getting shot. I do think the Erica Kirk memes are really, really funny, but like, I don't want people getting shot in the head, period. If that makes me a bad liberal, okay.
I don't think it makes you a bad liberal. I think it makes us great liberal. So we're rounding out the episode now, and I just wanted to rapid fire ask you kind of the ideas, like, to read them to filth. And so I just want to know the first word or phrase that comes into your mind when I say these Republican names. I'm just curious. So is that fine?
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Okay. So Kristi Noem.
Swollen. Girl is swollen. She looks like when in Hitch, when he accidentally eats, I think he eats shellfish when he's out with the Mendes and then they have to go get all the Benadryl and he's like chucking the pills into his mouth. That's what she looks like on a daily basis. It's scary.
It's horrifying. And the before and after from the plastic surgery, that's one of those shocking things I've ever seen in my life. The before and after.
Fuck ass haircut she had before.
The Kate Gosselin.
Literally the Karen special. That's what you get when you go to the hair cuttery and you ask for the Karen, and it's a brand new stylist.
The hair cuttery. Oh my God. All right, Stephen Miller.
Bitch boy.
He's
so, dude, him and Katie Miller, I'm like, her having to wake up and seeing his ugly ass face is exactly the punishment on earth that she deserves.
I was about to say,
imagine waking up and that's the first person you see, the first person you talk to, you smell his breath in the morning, literally kill me.
God. Casey DeSantis.
Gloves.
No, no, listen, I just have to interrupt you and say, you don't know how many times, if someone in my life has not seen your content, I introduce you to them through your Casey DeSantis gloves video. I reference it to this day. It is one of my favorite pieces of content.
That makes me so happy. The gays really loved that video. I love learning what the gays are liking and loving. That's really important to me. And that's one of the favorites for sure. Just for people not aware, Casey DeSantis, when what were they was he running for something at the time? Like, I don't know if she was just like, I think he was like soft launching his potential presidential campaign. So like
Yes.
Casey DeSantis, who's the wife of Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, whatever, started wearing gloves to all of her events. And here's the thing, as someone, who did cotillion and kind of knows the lay of the land in this space, you don't wear opera length gloves, one during the day, two with a T length dress. Like they didn't fit. They were like bunched up. Like, clearly got them like off of Amazon. You would think at the very least, if she's gonna step out in this Jackie oh no outfit, that she would at least get something tailored. It was so humiliating, and she would always wear these gloves to like random events that did not require gloves, and everyone
Yep.
around her would be in like jeans and a t-shirt. And I love to dress up, but she looked insane. And also it's Florida. So like I just know she was getting dishydrosis from like all the sweat within those gloves, and her eczema is her problem.
110%. And then a final one, Tommy Tuberville.
Oh, the dude in Alabama. I'm gonna be so honest. I don't know a ton about him, but just like blubbering idiot from what I do now.
That's perfect.
Just a dumb dumb.
That's all you needed to say. That's all I was hoping for. I'm one of his biggest haters on social media. His staff has 100% seen my videos. I will never take my foot off of his throat. So I was just hoping that you were at least aware enough to be able to call him a dum dum. You did it. That's all I needed.
I love that for you.
Thank
No,
you.
that's so important to have.
So, second to last question. I am just curious if there is a message or a question or anything that you want to share with the ladies over at the iPad It podcast.
Oh my gosh. I mean, well, first of all, they're such queens. They're such icons. They inspire me. I'm so grateful for what they do. I would love to know if they had to, and this is just a hypothetical game, not actually suggesting any of these
Sure.
things take place. Kiss, marry, kick the bucket. JD Vance, Kosh Patel, Stephen Miller.
Oh.
They have to assign one to each of those categories.
And no cop outs.
No cop outs. And if you don't want to answer it, which you do have to answer it, you have to pick your favorite of the three and explain why.
Okay.
So either way, you have to let it out.
Beautiful. We're going to work on getting an answer to that one. And people will just have to stay tuned to social media to find out what they say.
Yeah.
Suzanne, final question. What is it that you're not wrong about?
I am not wrong about the fact that conservative men love liberal women. They love us. And it's because of what I was talking about earlier. Republican women, MAGA women, are so male-centered, and they put men first and at the center of everything. And like they're desperate, right? And believe it or not, like that is not something that men really like and value, and most importantly, respect. Like there's a book called Why Men Love Bitches, and there's a ton of problematic advice in there. But what it does get right, and what was really helpful for me when I was a woman in my 20s, just fanatically dating, having no idea what I was doing, picking all the wrong people, men like women who put themselves first. Men like women who aren't vying so hard for their affection and approval, which we know Republican women are just doing constantly. And that's why all of these conservative men, even though they think I'm, so dumb or whatever, they still follow me. They still hit me up in my DMs. They still hit on me. They don't want the conservative women who are vying for their attention and approval all the time. What they want, much like Donald Trump, is actually the approval of the people who don't want them back. Ask any liberal woman. We have absolutely no problem like getting, not that we want them to hit on us, but like Republican men will find out that we're liberal and they don't give a shit. Like they are still very much interested in trying to pursue us. So I always tell like these Republican women who are going to these conferences put on by Alex Clark and these other hags in their awful milkmaid dresses that are just like so ugly, 100% polyester floral prints. God knows how they were, made. They're going to these conferences paying all this money to hear about how to get a husband. And I'm like, the gag is how you get the men that you want to want you is by acting more like me and acting more like women on our side who don't give them the time of day. That's actually what's going to get their interest. Hate to tell you.
Listen, you're not wrong about that. You're not wrong about anything that you said in this episode. This is genuinely.
Someone will let you know. They will let you know if I am, which I love. They keep us honest. But this has been so much fun.
They're entitled to their opinions, but they can't change mine that you're not wrong about any of this stuff. And I cannot thank you enough for your time. And hopefully we can have you back on here soon.
I would love that. No, this was so fun. And you totally like turned my morning around. So thank you again.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Yay.